You want to go ahead and kick things off, Marvin?
Yeah, morning everybody. It's fine Monday. We're gonna get started on
Friday.
well, the same but different. When you work all day every day, you don't know what day it is anymore. We're gonna get the day started on killing zombies. We're gonna talk about some objections and whatnot. But if you have any main points you want us to talk about, feel free to drop them in the chat as we're going. That way we can address everything. Uh, what you got for us, Austin?
Man, I'd say really just obviously like introducing ourselves to everybody. I know most of you guys know who Marvin is, most of you guys know who I am, but me personally, I came from car sales. Obviously, the main thing I learned was coming in, I mean, from 3 years of car sales was switching that tonality, guys, making sure I was that professional, making sure I was, I mean, truly making sure I was doing exactly what was needed to do. But yeah, truly, that's where I'm coming from, Marvin. Where'd you come from?
Well, y'all got two car salesmen
Two car salesmen.
about killing zombies. Yeah, I used to sell cars too at Toyota on Nicholasville. Like I said last Friday, I mean, I thought I knew what I was doing when I came in here. I thought I had everything figured out just because I knew how to sell cars, but it's completely different ballpark, completely different
Hmm.
game. So you definitely got to be coachable if you want to, take it to the next level. But starting out with the objections, I mean, I know a lot of you guys get hung up on in the first 90 seconds. Um, One big reason for that would be not making yourself, not having as big of a stance when you first start off the call. You want to sound confident, you want to be very assertive, but not too much at the same time, to where they're not just like, oh, it's just another one of those salesmen, and they hang up on you. So for me, most of the time, a lot of my hang-ups in the intro, it's not because they answered me and they're like, oh, this guy again, and they hang up. It's because I'm talking their ear off the phone. So they're not hanging up the first 20, 30, 40 seconds. They listen to what I have to say just because I'm very assertive in the beginning. Like I'm not like, hey, is this Michael or this or that? I'm like, hey, Michael, hey, this is Marvin, and then you take it from there. That way you can kind of put your foot down off rip and set the tone for the phone call. What do your intros look like, Austin?
Yeah, I'd say confidence is definitely going to be the main thing that gets you to the point. I mean, I'm sure some of you guys have even gone to closes where you may have not even, sent credentials or something just because there was, some sort of confidence that just brought you all the way through. And I mean, that person truly believed that you guys are that professional underwriter because we are. At the end of the day, you have to see yourself as a person taking care of them. And just like Marvin said, if you're coming into the call at, is this John? Like, come on, John, this is Austin. You got to make sure that they know what you want. Well, not what you want, but at least know what your intention is with the call, know who you are. And I mean, making sure that you definitely have your presence known. What would you say your intro objections mainly are at least like filled with, Marvin? I know obviously like I've already got insurance.
My I love intro objections. That's the bread and butter of the business. So a lot of the times it's I already got insurance, but that's not really an objection. I mean, the way I treat it is like, well, duh, I'm here to help you, even though you have coverage. So you don't want any objections to catch you off guard, and you don't want to start stuttering after. You want to act like, well, obviously you already have coverage. I already knew that. Anyways, and then you move on. So a lot of the times when they're like, "Oh, I already got coverage," and I don't let them finish their sentence because once they do, they're off the phone. So what I tend to do is cut them off. Perfect, man. That makes my job a lot easier. How much coverage you got? If they're like, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable telling you this or that," you can tell them the whole, "Well, sir, you're gonna keep getting these calls. I'm just asking you so I can close out your file," and then you grab the information from there. And if it turns out they're overpaying, you're like, "Oh, okay, sir. I mean, with this 40% discount, you should only be paying $67 a month. Did you get that in place recently?" And you kind of pique their interest from there. The last thing you want to do, even if they have the worst accidental policy for $1 million of coverage for $10 a month, the last thing you want to do is offend them and tell them, "Oh, you're an idiot or this or that. Obviously, we know that, but you wanna get through to them without them putting their guard up. So you want to ease into it, ask the right questions to where they come to that conclusion on their own, and then you're of use to them by then.
Yeah, and if I could add on to that, I mean, truly, like that's the whole structure of, I mean, any sort of rebuttal. I mean, obviously, you're always going to start by agreeing. You're always going to get to where, where you're going to be on the same page, and then you're going to follow up with that question to get you to the next step. Because if you guys see like any objections or any rebuttals, like on the intro objections, they all have the same format. They all end up taking that client the same way. It's whether they have coverage or they don't. Is that through us? Is it not? How much coverage do they have? Is it, it's we're always going to end up getting to those questions no matter what you would say, right, Marvin?
100%. And then the biggest thing in sales, I mean, outside of life insurance, what they tell you is if you're not comfortable in the silence, then you already lost a sale or this or that. This is a completely different industry. You don't want the phone to go quiet. You don't want any white noise. The moment you have that, the client's already digging in their own head, overthinking everything and second guessing everything. So even when it comes down to the little things, you don't want any white noise. Even when I'm doing something on my computer, I'm saying a little bit of it out loud to where they're like it's kind of like they're sitting with me staring at the same screen that I'm looking at. So even when I'm inputting information, I'm like, let's see already. And then the address was 781. And then sometimes I say something wrong on purpose just to make sure they're still engaged and have them correct me. That way they're 100% with me, staring at the same screen that I'm staring at. And it's not me just doing random stuff while they're sitting there waiting on the phone. So yeah, white noise is something you definitely want to eliminate. The moment the call goes quiet, that's the moment you lose the sale. And then going on to the next part after the intro, I mean, you want to carry yourself with a level tone, obviously, and then you want to know when to kind of jump out of that and jump back into it. So it's not always, I mean, if it's a chill client, 100% stay level the whole time. When you really want to stay level is when they object. That's when you want to take a step back and, take a deep breath because you don't want them to start panicking. So let's say someone objects and then you start getting defensive and you're like, "Oh no, no, well no, sir, this and that." That's not gonna fly. Whenever they object, you want to act like it's another Tuesday. Like, excuse my language, like no shit, Sherlock. You want to show this to the wife. Wouldn't that be better with a policy packet in your hands? Yeah, so my job as your medical underwriter is to make sure that you are approved for this, to set an effective date, and to get that policy packet in your hand to go over with the misses. Like, I already, I already know you want to show the wife. That's what I'm here to help you to do, if that makes sense.
Marvin, were you gonna go like I guess digging into why were you gonna mention I guess like changing that tonality like more so into like a caring or like curiosity type of deal, like
Yeah,
asking for the beneficiary or
100%.
obviously digging into that, yeah.
Once you start digging into the why, that's when you can soften your tone up a little bit. But once you have them by the you know what, just stay level from there. Like your sale is locked in.
No, exactly. Do you feel like you do anything else in digging into the why other than obviously making sure you find out how much coverage is already in place, making
Yeah,
sure you find
so
out what position the beneficiary's in?
I do things a little bit differently. Me personally, I don't like to jab at them with the why or hammer at it over and over and over again. I like to do it in a subtle way. So I obviously I address the elephant in the room, which is the why they need the coverage, who they're trying to protect. But throughout the entire process, I slip in things here and there, like during the benefits. I'm like, and then this also includes a double accidental payout rider, meaning God forbid you pass away, so and so. Miss Mary will receive double the coverage. That way she can cover the funeral and then leave some money for herself. So make sure if you plan on passing, make sure you're in a car or something. And then the time where I stress the why the most is when I'm quoting the packages. I let them know exactly what it's gonna do when Mrs. Mary receives the coverage. Try to paint the picture, you know, hey, with this one, she'll only have enough for the funeral, but she won't have anything extra. this is the option that most veterans tend to lean towards for the silver option, just simply because it covers the full thing and then it leaves their extra money behind to take care of business and take it from there, you know?
No, I gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, just trying to, yeah, simply go through it. I mean, obviously, make sure they understand their own needs and making sure you guys know exactly, what the goal is, right?
100%. And then don't be selfish, guys. I mean, I understand everyone's here to make money, everyone's here to take care of themselves too. But at the same time, if you want to write sticky business and if you want to keep writing business, you want to have the client in mind as well. You want to look out for their best interest as well, because looking out for the client's best interest is essentially just looking out for your best interest. Meaning, if you put them in the best position possible, it's going to be hard for Juan to replace your policy, for Michael, for whoever it is. Um, and simply because you took care of the client, and you can let the client know what position they're in when you're done. Meaning, like if you barely got them approved, let them know that. Let them know that you did them a huge favor, but without making them feel like you did them a huge favor, if you know what I mean. Um, so you take care of your clients, they're gonna take care of you essentially down the line.
Exactly. And since we're like over like the presentation kind of area now, what would you say like your main objections you get, or I mean, let me actually ask you this, because I know you're a common sense kind of guy with the clients. What's your way of just going about it? Like, let's say you present bronze, silver, gold, and they're like, yeah, let me talk to my wife about it, my dog about it, whatever it is. What's your response instantly?
I'm glad you asked me that question, Austin. So this is where 99.9% of the time you either make or break the sale is when they're having doubts, second thought, whatever it is when you're quoting them. So if any of that is going on, they're no longer part of the decision making. I assess their situation and I make the decision for them. I let them know exactly what we're gonna do. Yeah, man. So since you want to show this to the missus, what we can do and see if you even qualify for this coverage and set out an effective date. My professional recommendation would be to start out with the bare minimum. That way, at least something is in place in case something happened to you by now and the time you got that policy packet in the mail. That way, at least the funeral's covered. But once you receive that paperwork and you go over it with the missus, you're more than welcome to increase the coverage when you look at it, okay? Now, we went over the long part. I just have to confirm a few things for the carriers. The spelling on your first name. So I just transition, I make the
All
decision
the
for
way
them.
through.
Yeah, just go on to the
Okay.
next part.
Yeah.
Because some people can't handle decision making. Some people, their wives make all the decisions. And their wife is not around. You got to do it for them.
Exactly. Yeah. Half our job is making sure that we hold their hands and take them to where they need to be.
Yeah. Now, if they got $100,000 IUL, they're paying $40 a month for it, and you're trying to add another 50 grand just to put some money in your pocket. That's not called making a decision for them. That's just called being
Right. But
selfish.
yeah, if there's no protection, the wife he told you is going to be in a very bad spot, makes no money a month. He's the breadwinner. She has to cover a burial. We're putting him in the best position possible.
Yeah, that's when you can get creative. But if in the beginning of the phone call they're like, I need another 40 grand to make sure my wife is set, and they have second thoughts afterwards, you can make the decision then too. Just make sure it's something they want, need, or have to
No,
have.
you're just not asking to make the professional recommendation. You're telling them, hey, John, my recommendation here is, etc.
Yeah. How long is your average close, Austin?
I'd say mine are in between, let's say 30 to 40 minutes. If at least, going in depth, making sure everything is said, everything. Like I tell them everything I need to be telling them regarding the policy. I'd say 30 to 40 minutes. What about
That's
yours?
Mine are a little bit on the lower end. They're around 12 to 18 minutes on average, and it's not because I'm not cutting corners or not letting them know about the packages or anything like that. It's just I'm taking all the white noise out of the phone call, meaning I'm not since it's all based on common sense, they need it or not, make sure they're good with it. I just hit the main points, and then from there, it really just gives them no room to object or second guess anything if the ride is just moving along, you know.
Now, do you feel like your business is as sticky, even being a shorter amount of phone call?
100%. These vets, they hate it when you beat around the bush. When you try to suck up to them, when you thank them for their service over and over, and when you're trying to build rapport right before you grab their account number, they hate that shit. You just gotta smack them with it. You gotta keep in mind, guys. These guys, they're veterans. They've been taking orders their whole lives. I don't mean like boss them around or anything like that, but you can push it a little bit because that's just how they are. That's how they're programmed.
Exactly. They've had somebody telling them what to do for X amount of time. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Let me see. What's the next thing? I guess, I mean, really any sort of application thing. I know obviously like social objections are, I try to take them pretty simply. I mean, easily. The way I present like my social security or like asking for it, obviously, you are a US citizen. Like you mentioned earlier, like I talk to him like I'm doing an application. Okay, let me click yes for you here. Okay,
100%.
perfect. And for the MIB report, go ahead with your social. I mean, just it's like asking them their favorite color. Go ahead with your favorite color. Go ahead with your social. As long as I feel like as long as I have that tonality right there, I think I'm pretty much, I mean, spot in. Especially like if you're pre-closing, doing what you need to do like before the script. Do you say you approach it any differently?
So the way I treat objections, I don't know if I said this last time, but if you're sitting there and you find yourself going back and forth with a veteran for 10 minutes over a social or an account number, hang up the phone. An objection should not take that long if they're serious about the coverage. I'm being so serious. Hang up the phone. So the way I do it is, let's say they say no to the social. I do the all reliable. Yes, sir. So this is what the carrier uses. Or I actually say this before I even ask for the social. All right. Obviously, that makes you a U.S. citizen. I'll answer that one for you. There we go. And then for the carrier to access your MIB report, which is what they use to determine whether or not you even qualify, go ahead with your social. Oh, I don't feel comfortable. This, and that. Oh, that's no problem, sir. I'm the same exact way, my man. But that's why I'm required by law to share credentials with you. That way you can make sure I'm a certified and licensed professional. And keep in mind, as soon as I submit your information, I no longer have access to it. It is the carrier asking for it, not me. Go ahead with your social. That's the second out they get. They don't want to give it to me. I'm like, yes, sir. So, like I mentioned before, one, two, three, go over the same things, maybe slip in something extra. And then if they're just still saying no from there, I'm just straight up like, well, sir, are you serious about this coverage? Yeah, you are. I gotcha. So just to put in perspective, it's the same exact process anywhere. You know, before COVID, they would have us come to your house and go over the packages. But ever since COVID, everything is over the phones. That's why we're required by law to share credentials. That way you can, you know who you're conducting business with. Now go ahead with your social. Every time I end an objection handling, um, I end it with, now go ahead with your social. It's like giving them an out for acting like a dumbass over the phone. So if that doesn't work three, four times, I tell them, well, sir, it doesn't seem like you are serious about this coverage. I suggest you take a moment and check out my credentials. And if things boom, 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 I'll reach back out to you. You want to leave the call before they do, especially if they're being hard-headed like that. You shouldn't be handling an objection for more than 5 minutes.
No, I mean, yeah, that's perfect. The only thing like I would probably add to that is maybe even just like try and FaceTime them if that's obviously like an iPhone that they have or anything like that. Or I know even me sending like pictures of the application that still works itself. Like some guys just truly just I mean don't have a lot of trust whether it's going to be looking at your face or looking at the application where it says Americo, their full name and social in a red box. At the end of the
Yeah.
day I can say, "Hey John, listen, you can see better than I can tell you. You see your
Yeah.
name there. You can see the red box around the social. At the end of the day, we can't protect your wife without going past this.
The way I
Whatever it's
figured
going
that,
to be.
Austin, I was looking at my text messages a couple weeks ago, and it turns out every single person, every single veteran that I went out of my way, a lot of them I sent my actual license, driver's license to. Every single one of them that I chased around like that never, ever, ever went through. So
Really.
So if the more you want it, the less you're
Well, I'm
gonna
saying,
get.
well, yeah, I mean, while still on the call, yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, obviously, like trying to keep it as simple. Like, my process is truly like, just like you said. I mean, if you're gonna say, or like how I say, like, okay, so this part here, for the carrier to take a look at your MIB report, go ahead with your social. If they say no, my first response is no. Well, truly, like, truly, just agreeing with them. Like, man, John, I'm so happy you actually said that. A lot of people are not that very cautious, but thankfully. We know this is just for them to check your medical records, so there's really nothing to worry about. I mean, I don't say that the first time every time, but I literally just try to make it like as common sense as possible. Like, hey, like for example, I even do like a pre-close, like whenever you explain like the MIB report part, I'll make sure I add a segment where hey, you know what they're gonna do is check your MIB report. Marvin, do you know what that is? Oh, no. So that's your MIB report. That's your Medical Information Bureau. What that is, they're going to check this, this, and this, and this. So that way, when I get to the social, hey, you remember when I asked you like 10 minutes ago, what that MIB report was? Yeah, this is that part now.
Exactly. Yeah, you
It's
catch them
just,
up
yeah,
on
trying
that.
to keep it as simple. And then tonality. Like, we didn't like, even whenever you were doing your examples, your tonality stayed the same. No emotion. You're not scared about it. We're just protecting your family.
Yeah. The biggest piece of advice that I would leave you guys with is, and the piece of advice that genuinely changed me from zero policies a month to however much policies a month, is the moment I realized it's only as complicated as I make it. So you're the professional. You don't go to a doctor's office and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what to give you. I don't know this. I don't know that." You're gonna run out of there. You're the professional. You're the only person that can put a brick wall in front of yourself. You're The way I look at it, I'm my own objection if I lose a sale. It's my fault, to be honest with you. Just
Exactly.
because if it's a smooth process on my end, I know exactly what I'm doing. I make it easy for me, easy for them. In and out, they know everything they need to know. I know everything I need to know. It's a done deal. But if I'm sitting here, especially with objections, if literally I'm panicking, if I think, oh, I'm gonna lose the sale, if any of those thoughts hit your head while you're in a set, you need to take a step back and work on that. Just because when you're in the moment, you're in the moment, but you can't be thinking about things like that. So the moment you find yourself not panicking when you get an objection and it's just another Tuesday walk in the park, that's when you'll excel the most.
Yeah. And I'd say for like newer agents, I'd say it's definitely more so just like making sure you know the script. I mean, just to begin with, just so you know where to go on to next. Because if you're battling an objection, just like Marvin said, and just how his examples are, he's continuing through. He needs to know exactly where to start at and end off just to make sure that he's going into the next part instantly. So, I mean, obviously making sure you know that on off the top of your head and making sure you know exactly what you got to say to, because I mean, would you agree that we only get so many objections like with the thousands and thousands and thousands of calls we've made?
Yeah, I mean, bro, they're just normal. Like it's if someone called you with this kind of stuff, you'd have those. They're not really objections. They're just common
Exactly.
sense. I would do that too myself. Like it's I expect objections every single phone call, but I don't look at them as objections. I look at them as just me talking to you or going back and forth. One of us got to end up on top. That's it.
Exactly, exactly. I
But
guess last part here we can go over, I guess, yeah, the banking sides of things. I guess it's really
mhm.
only other objection sides. I mean, I'll kind of go through how I do it. Like starting off, I'll just be like, so still acting like, like because we are doing the application. All right, let
Yeah.
me go on to the next page here with you. All right, so yeah, this is the state's anti-money laundering verification portion, John. What most veterans do here is tend to take care or take advantage of that immediate day one coverage, making sure you are protected day one, but we have the possibility to set up with your benefits as well. What's going to be most comfortable for you? That's how I start my sides of things. Do you do anything differently?
So it's a little bit different for me. Obviously, I've been on the phone with this person for at least 7, 8 minutes by this point, and I'm still in the making decisions for them mood, depending on their situation. So the way I jump into the banking, okay, after as soon as I grab the social, um, so we went over the medical side. I have your primary beneficiary here is so and so. Now, John, what time of the month do you typically receive your income? The first, I gotcha. And I'm assuming that would be a good reoccurring date? Yeah, I figured already. Now, assuming you are approved with your medical history, typically the first premium drafts within 24 to 48 hours upon approval. Is that going to be a problem? More often than not, they say no, it's not going to be a problem, but it's not because I tell everyone that. I only say that when I know they're comfortable with money, they're good to go, like it just fits their situation. If you try to say that to someone who's telling you, I don't have the money right now, that's not going to fly. You just
Oh
got to
yeah,
read the
no.
room. So if someone really doesn't have the money right now, and I already knew that just from when we were talking about their income, I don't even ask them about immediate. I make the decision for them. The first, I gotcha. So I'm just gonna set this out to the first. That way you have enough time, obviously, to get your money in, and then you also have time to look over the policy packet. So, in all honesty, I'm making the decision for them. It's just one
Yeah.
less thing off their plate that they don't have
Yeah,
to worry
because I
about.
mean, at the end of the day, you're making it when they're gonna receive their payment, no matter what. I mean, they're gonna be at least, able to make that payment.
A hundred
100%.
percent, and
No, I like
and
that.
not just that. It's really just you're gonna take care of them. You're someone if you're telling someone who doesn't have money before they even say anything, and I'm just gonna set this out to the first. That way you have enough time to get everything together. In their head, you care about them. You're here to take care
Right.
of them. You care about their situation. You care about their best interests. But if you're just sitting here spamming immediate coverage, that's not gonna fly. You gotta read the room.
No, exactly, exactly. No, I will say, like, I'd say most of the time, like, I like offering it on my side. Like, obviously, if it's like a $20 policy a month or something, like, more than likely, they're not going to be able to. I mean, it just depends, right? But, honestly, like, the only reason I do is because you would be surprised how many people, like, still, like, in finances sides of things. Sometimes they're just like, I've had a guy tell me, you know what? Yeah, let me start this. Let me just go ahead and start with what I got in my savings, even though, my benefit hasn't came in or something like that. But most
Yep.
of the time, they will choose the benefits regardless, just because that's going to be the most comfortable day. But I always like just giving them like the two options, more so like the same thing with like the intro, final expense or this. Do you want to
Yeah.
do this or this rather than, okay, just the first. But I do like your way a lot more.
Thank you.
No,
And then for
100%.
your account number objections, what do you look like on those?
I do try to keep it, pretty simple. Like, let's say, are you saying more so like confirming the routing number and then they're like, no, or I don't have a checkbook, or okay, and the account number? No, I don't want to give that.
I, I don't give I'm not giving you my bank information, you dickhead.
No, that's no problem, Marvin. I hear you 100%, but thankfully it's the only way that they are going to be able to verify yourself as the payer. Here, go ahead with your when you're ready. Well, I mean, I try to keep it pretty simple. Like, if not that one, I'll just be like, okay, so this is the bank that we wanted to use. You didn't want to use like a Chase Bank or like a Wells Fargo, right? And then that just kind of like gets them off board. It's like it takes them off like the payment sides of things. It's like, oh, did I want to use another bank? I like hitting them
Yeah.
with that one randomly as well. It's like, hey, we did have the Wells Fargo listed as a discount. Did we want to use another bank for this? But I
Yep.
mean, I try to keep it pretty simple. Obviously, I still hit them with yeah, this is just for the payment, or hey, this is for, making sure the policy goes active, pay your. I'd say I don't have like a certain one I use like for the first one 100%, but I'd say I definitely stay in the realm of, what we know, or even like that bank question, like, hey, did we want to use a different bank by chance? What would you say your approach is?
I mean, for me, I expect that every single phone call, even no matter how well it's going. For me, it's like them reaching out with their hand and trying to take me for a dance. I just take a big old step back. I'm like, listen, dumbass, if I was trying to scam you, I would have already ran off with your social. This is for the carrier to make sure that you have a valid bank account with your first and last name on it, and it's not some random bozo trying to put some coverage on you and kill you this week for the money.
Exactly.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They say no again. Yeah, remember when I sent you those credentials? I start backtracking. That's when I hit them with the most common sense, just because I don't want to spend too much time in a rebuttal, especially if it's about the account number. Because the longer you take doing that, the less likely you're going to get it. So you want to make it
Exactly.
short, sweet, wrap it up, in and out, in and out. And if it doesn't work, you gotta, I don't know what it's like for a lot of you guys, but more likely than not, you got a whole lot of other people in that lead sheet you could be reaching out to. So don't get too caught up on one person, no matter how sweet it is. Always move on
Exactly.
to the next one.
But yeah, I'd say yeah, it's definitely going to be the trick because if you talk to them for 5 minutes over trying to get an account number, their guard is just going to keep rising and rising and rising. But if you get it in the first two, first three, whatever it is, and boom, perfect. That's exactly what you need.
100%. Don't save your heavy hitters, your big ammo for later. Just hit them with it right away. Just smack them with it.
And
But
it's the
I mean,
common
with
sense, just like you said. Hey, dumbass, hey, this is just what's going to
literally,
verify you the payer and for you to be able to pay when time is ready. Because at the end of the day, if we've gone through all this, we've gone through price, we've gone through coverage, it's common sense that they know it's going to get to a point where we're going to put that payment method on file.
and then it's never be never be too shy to go back on your word with them. When I say that, I mean if everything's going well and you decided to push them with the immediate coverage approach to where they have to pay today, and then when it comes to the banking, they're like getting all iffy and stuff. Sometimes it's a smokescreen. Sometimes they're in over their head. They didn't know what they said earlier and they can't actually pay it today. That's when you have to take a bigger step back and disarm them, let them know, well, sir, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna push this out to the first of next month. That way you have enough time to go over the policy packet. That way you're not paying anything today. And that you can sense their relief when you say that just because they're in over their head. So you
And
gotta
I'll say that's yeah, because that's good right there. Now I haven't had that specific situation, but it was more so me just lowering coverage once we got to banking. Because he was like, "Oh
exactly.
yeah, gold, gold, gold," and next thing you know, we're at bank, and I'm like, "Hey, I mean, be honest with me. I mean, is the price still good? Like, what are we doing here?" He's like, "Man, I don't think I could afford it. All right, let's just start with the bronze, and that's gonna be okay with you, right? Okay, perfect. Go ahead when you're ready." And
Yeah.
sometimes it's either a smoke screen. I guess it's just finding the right reason as to why they're not giving it to you.
Guys, 100% of the time, if you're in control of the phone call the entire way, you understand everything they're telling you, you will see through every single smoke screen because by that point of the call, it's like you've been living with them for 5 years, you know everything about them. So there should be no reason you don't know what smoke screen they're giving you. The moment you start realizing what the smoke screens are, when they're being genuine, when they're not, when they have defensive mechanisms, they're doing this, they're doing that, you know how to disarm them, life is golden. Because, like I said, you have to be in control of the phone call, not bossing them around. It's kind of like a little slow dance. But anything else you want to add on, Austin, before we take on questions?
Let's see, did we not go over anything specifically, or let me see if I add anything. Um, no, I'd say let's just go through questions. If I think of something else while we're doing this, I'll make sure I add it in. But let's see, who's got a question for us, or I mean, anything specifically?
Yo, that was a fire training, boys.
Austin or Marvin, whenever they hit you with they already have coverage, how do you find what's the easiest way you find with spending their coverage? Like whenever you bring up their mortgage or like if they're the main breadwinner or like if they have leftover credit card debt or anything like that.
Well,
Um, all right,
go
here you
ahead,
can.
Austin. No, you
Here,
hang
that's
up.
here. I got it. I got it. I guess you'll go after me. So if they just say you said they like the main objection is just they already have coverage, like they already got something in place, and you want
Yeah.
to try and
I feel like I feel like that's the main objection I get all the
okay,
time is I already have coverage and then I'll try and kind of move my way into the mortgage protection or the income protection and I just feel like I haven't been able to really close them on a consistent level so I just feel like I'm not saying the right thing or I'm not switching into it right or I'm not too sure honestly.
okay. So I'll start with saying this: if there's no need, there's no need. But if you can find one perfect, like for example, if you start off with the question and they say, "Yeah, I've already got life insurance in place." Obviously, you're always going to agree. Hey, perfect. Obviously, I know you've got it in place. I know you're protecting your final expenses. You start asking them, "Hey, is that through us? Is that privately?" At least just start going through the questions. You want to go through slowly. Once you agree, you're on their side, so they won't be too scared to answer those questions regarding the coverage. If you find out it's like 50,000 in coverage, okay, perfect. You start with the first assumption. Hey, I'm guessing you just wanted to make sure the grandkids were set, make sure they had something for college. whatever it's going to be. Hey, I wanted to make, or I'm guessing you just wanted to make sure since the final expenses are taken care of and there's something left behind, this is strictly going for the mortgage. I mean, I always try to just find like that next best area, especially if it's truly right in that intro. I mean, other than if you've already got the beneficiary, you can always try to dig into the beneficiary sides of things. But I mean, if you've asked them like three, four, or five questions and they say, no, that's not what I'm worried about. No, that's not what I'm worried about. I'd say you're probably just better off calling the next guy and just hanging up on that person. But I mean, if you're asking like, hey, mortgage, college, just financial security, any loans that you've had to like, redo the house. I mean, really, it's just like going into the assumption. That's the only thing like I do. Like it's really
Right.
just okay. I'm guessing you took out a loan that you're just trying to make sure you get a policy to pay off for. That's pretty much like my approach would be if we're just in that intro area, like, just going off that
Right.
first, okay, I've got coverage, what do you have? Where's it through? Okay, so you're just
Right.
looking at this. That's probably what my structure is kind of based off of. Marvin, what do
Right.
you
So
think?
you don't ask them like like obviously you don't ask the questions in the same order every time because each client has a different need, but you approach it kind of the same every single time.
Yeah, at least, yeah, I try to get on their side first, 100%. Oh my goodness, man, I'm glad you have that, John. So many veterans wait till the last second to get that in place. Kudos to you. How much do you have in place, by the way? It's like instead of just like asking them, hey, how much do you have? What are you paying?
Right.
The same thing as to asking them, hey, how much is Mutual of Omaha charging you? You're on their side, not on Mutual's.
Yeah.
That's kind of just try to like the structure I try to keep, but it's really like intro is always going to be the same for me. I'm always going to try and find those questions, try to find how much coverage they have, why they even got that coverage in place, and I'm just going to try and assume, or sometimes they are that type of client where I can just straight up ask them like, hey, what's really even got you thinking about leaving more in place? It sounds like that's enough. Like sometimes I might just agree with them. Hey, you've got, I mean, 250,000 in place through an IUL. I mean, what got you thinking of leaving more? Sometimes they might just tell you rather than you just like failing to assume. Um, that's probably what like my approaches would be depending on what kind of client like I feel like I'm talking to. But firstly, I am trying to assume if I feel like they're, a chiller, kind of, straightforward person. John, what's got you thinking of even, I mean, leaving something behind? I mean, man to man, that should be enough, right? You never know. They might just tell you, hey, I just got a loan a year ago and it's 60 grand. I need to pay it off.
Right.
But just
Appreciate
the approach side of things. Marvin, what's your answer on that?
No, I think you hit it right on the bat there. For me, whenever they say I already have something in place, like I said earlier, I don't even let them finish. I cut them off. I'm like, perfect, makes my job a whole lot easier. Or I hit them with the, no shit, you have coverage in place. I already knew that. Gotcha. But I just kind of go on the taking a step back, like common sense. Well, no shit, you have something in place, sir. How much coverage you got? How much you paying for it? And the moment I have those two things, the ball is in my court. So it's up to me which way the conversation goes. If they give me the coverage amount and how much they're paying for it, they're not gonna hang up. They're gonna listen to what you have to say. You just want to make sure you say the right things to keep them hooked and make it make sense for them. So if he's like, I got 20,000 in place. How much you paying for it? I think about 80 bucks. I got you, man. Well, sir, do you have any like terminal illnesses, cancer, kidney failure, anything like that? Oh, me? Dear God, no, I don't. Well, why are you paying 80 bucks a month, man? What do you mean? Sir, with your veterans discount, you should only be paying so and so. So I just quote them off the rip sometimes, depending on who it is, just because if you don't keep them engaged, they're gonna hang up on you. So I'm not telling you to be a quoter. I'm not telling you to, as soon as you get the coverage amount, this and that. You know,
Yeah,
we're
I'm
closers.
definitely as soon as they tell me that information, you best believe my ass is going on to Fex, put in his age, put in the coverage, and
Yeah.
yes, if we can save him money. Sir, great
Like,
news. We're gonna go ahead and save you 50 bucks a month. What I'm gonna reconfirm with you here, and then you just but yeah, I mean,
exactly.
if it's a replacement sides of things, 100%. If you're using their coverage, how do you go about it? Like if they've got 50 grand in place, like do you just try to go to
If they
like
got
a stu
50 grand in place and I
yeah,
can't beat
rather
it,
than and you can replace it, like how do you approach it? Just like I guess Nash said, just trying to find more type of
easy
deal.
money. That's when everyone panics. They're like, "Oh, I can't save the money. I'm cooked. This and that." To me, that's a guaranteed close. If they got a lot of coverage and they're paying less for it, I see exactly why they got that coverage in place to begin with. Oh, 50,000, I got you, sir. I mean, where you want to be buried or cremated? Buried, I got, you know how much that goes for nowadays? About 35, 40 grand. I'm like, sir, unless you're living on Mars, it's not gonna cost that much. So burial only costs about 15 to 20,000, maybe 25 on the really fancy end. So you really don't need that much coverage, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to be insurance rich. Now, for you to get this coverage in place, or and then I see afterwards, and then were you wanting to leave some extra money behind as well? Well, I got you. Well, how much extra? So, well, with that $50,000 one, I was gonna leave them 5,000 extra. I was like, well, sir, if you end up getting 30,000 in coverage, that'll cover a really fancy funeral, and it'll leave your family $5,000 behind, and you'll only be paying so and so a month, saving you about $50.
Hmm.
And then I take it from there. So I make it make sense for their situation, because who's paying 45 grand for a funeral or 35 grand? It's kind of like you just want to roll with it. Once you call enough people and you get enough no's, you'll understand exactly which way the phone call's heading.
That's a great answer, Marvin.
Thanks, Austin. You too, man.
Quick
All
question
right. Any
for
other?
you.
There you go.
Austin, I heard you say that you're jumping on FEX really to quote them, but Marvin, are you doing that before you quote them? Because I'd imagine there's going to be cases then where there's a gap between
So
what you told them they'd pay.
for me, every single phone call, as soon as I get on the phone with them, I'm talking to them. Obviously, I'm not going to waste my time with every client looking at the FEX quoter. As soon as I confirm their date of birth, I'm all right. I don't even punch the whole thing in the FEX. I don't know what it is since I started. I've always used my calculator. As soon as I confirm their date of birth, as I'm reading it, 1956 minus 2025, I know how old they are. By the time I'm asking them funeral or burial, I already have their age and $5,000 pulled up. By the time I'm asking if they wanted to be buried or cremated. Or, sorry, by the time I'm asking if they wanted to cover a funeral or leave extra money behind. So, literally in the first two paragraphs, they're already pulled up. Because I'd rather be ready and, good to go if I need to be quick on my feet and tell them something, rather than, oh, okay, well, give me 1 second, sir. Let's see here. You start losing their interest there. So, off rip, I already have their age punched into FEX, and I always do 5,000 at first because that's worst case scenario, just so I have it, ready to go.
Makes sense. Thanks.
No worries. Boys and girls, any questions?
Let's see. Last call. Last call.
What would you say is the most important part in the script to build the why for you guys? Would that be at the health questions or would that be in the beginning with the beneficiary?
Let me go first on this one, Austin. For me, the why is, why the hell are we even on the phone? So it has to be the very, very, very beginning for me. Like, if there's no reason for us to be on the phone from the very beginning, there won't be a reason for us to be on the phone in the middle of the script, the end of the script. So unless I have them, at least a thread of a why, like maybe I want to leave extra money, maybe I want to do this, maybe I want to do that. You got to lock them down in the very beginning, just so the phone call makes sense for them. Because what's going to stop them halfway through when you're boring them with the benefits or the medical questions? Oh, why the hell am I even on the phone with this guy? So the why has to be established in the beginning, always.
Okay. And
I
then
would.
you touch up more on it on the medical questions, or do you kind of just
I touch up
build it
more on
there?
it typically on the benefits and when I quote them, and as I'm telling them about the funeral and cremation costs,
Mm-hmm.
um, kind of right then and there. How about you,
Okay.
Austin?
Yeah, I mean, truly, like you said, bro, if there's no, like at the beginning, if you don't get them to say it out loud, yeah, I just, wanted to make sure that she wasn't burdened by the expenses and she was burdened by the mortgage, the refinance, whatever it is. If you don't get that point, just like Marvin said, like that's number one. What I try to do, like most people will say, I think Shane did it as well, like whenever he went over his script of things, but I do try to just implement that why into like most areas. Like even if I'm going over the benefits, hey, yeah, this immediate coverage means that Joanne will be receiving it, God forbid, anytime after that first payment is made, no matter what, or whatever it's going to be. Hey, the accidental death indemnity means that Joanne will be receiving two times the natural. I mean, just trying to like make sure they remember throughout that whole conversation, because like Marvin said, what's stopping them from in the middle of the benefits or in the middle of the health questions, whatever it's going to be, whenever it's like, not crucial information, what's stopping them from just being like, you know what, I don't want to talk to Austin anymore. But if he remembers, hey, okay, Joanne's the reason we're talking to Austin, that's going to be the main thing there.
I see a question here in the chat from Layla. Do you leave, is it voicemails in 3x or 2x styles? So for me personally, always, depending on your workflow, your time, you always want to call the leads as much as you can, especially if you're paying for them. You want to get your money's worth. Voicemails are a big fat no. Never, ever, ever in your life leave a voicemail. And the reason I say that is because, let's say, I mean, you guys get objections all day, every day. You know how these people are. Let's say you ask them live on the phone, they're like, I already have coverage. Perfect. Makes my job a whole lot easier. How much coverage you got? Oh, I'm all covered. I have 100 grand for $10 a month. Well, sir, that's an accidental. Boom, boom, boom. You close them. If you leave them a voicemail, you have no chance of talking to that person ever again. They're gonna hear your voicemail and be like, oh, I already have 100,000 for $10. I'm good. Block or never call them again or don't answer, as opposed to you being there to actually handle that objection instead of them going in their own head and making the decision on their own, because they will do that. If you leave them a voicemail letting them know what it's for, this and that, you're done for. Now if you leave them a vague voicemail, they might end up reaching back out to you, and then from there it's just you kind of have to climb your way back up just to build some credibility. So what I recommend is just 3xing, 6xing, 9xing, 30xing all the leads, hoping they would pick up, as opposed to leaving a big fat voicemail. That's a big fat no for me in my books. Never, ever, ever, like Shane would say, ever leave a voicemail. What about you, Austin?
Yeah, I can't say I leave. I mean, I can't say I leave really any voicemails throughout the day. Same thing. I'm just trying to get the activity. I'd rather, I mean, have I had instances where maybe I've gotten a call back from some sort of voicemail? I'm sure, yeah. But I'd rather use that 30 seconds like dialing another person or dialing two other people, or like two times the next number. Like yeah, if you have like I mean I just don't know. I'd say it's always gonna be better, like Marvin said, like just to talk
Uh,
with that person.
I'm on smoke when it comes to voicemail. It's
Like
like,
if
would you rather
I only
have
need a
someone?
voicemail if it's my client already. Like, hey, give me a call
Yeah.
back. See lapsed maybe or something. I don't know.
Would you rather have someone assume something about you behind your back and they live their lives thinking that, or assume it in front of you and you're sitting there, you have an opportunity to correct it? That's how I
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean I truly I can't say I leave voicemails. No. But yeah, just 3xing, that's what I do. Like just 3x every number. If it's on Do Not Disturb by the second one, I'll still call it a third one just in case. If it's got FaceTime audio, you best believe I'm FaceTime audioing. If it's straight to voicemail, that's pretty much it.
just a heads
Question.
up for everybody. FaceTime audio, that makes it easier for them to block you because it pops up an option. It's answer, hang up, or block.
Oh shit.
Question.
Tread
Uh,
carefully.
Is it isn't this a numbers game? So wouldn't leaving a voicemail that takes 30 seconds out of your time times 100 boost your chances to getting a callback, which is a close?
I'll let you take this one, Austin.
Man, I get what you're saying, Wolfie. From me, I mean, maybe like if like a new agent's perspective, I mean, maybe, but like on my sides of things, dude, I've got thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of leads. Like for me to hope that that one person's gonna hear my voicemail and give me a call back because he heard life insurance and wanted to, see what it's about. I mean, I don't know. I'd say I would rather like than leave voicemails if somebody has like Ringy or something. I think the automated messages are better than like a voicemail if that's
Yeah, and
really something that you wanna like try
when
and
they
pursue.
when they say it's a numbers game, they mean the number of people picking up. So, like I said earlier, if you leave someone a voicemail and they hear it, they're like, "Oh, no, I'm good, I'm covered," and they just never call you back, as opposed to you calling them next week. Let's say it's an X6 and they answer and they tell you over the phone, they're like, "No, I'm good." You have an opportunity to grab them and be like, "Well, sir, no, you're not good. You have X amount of coverage that's not putting you in the best position possible." So you have a chance to actually voice yourself and rebuttal that, as opposed to you just being another voicemail that they delete. So numbers game as in you dialing all day every day and then getting as many people on the phones as possible.
Well, what if you dial 3 times, then at the third time you leave a voicemail, and then the second X you do that again, and the third X you do that again, and the fourth X you do that again, and at
I
the
mean,
sixth X, if he picks up, he already know what this call is about, so
yeah, I
you're
mean
not
to
really
each
wasting
their
your
own.
time, are you?
To each their own, but if you left a voicemail and he knows what the call's about, then he probably hates you for calling him over and over for life insurance and he thinks you're a villain. He's gonna answer you and cuss you out. So me,
Yeah, I
me
don't know. I personally
personally,
never left voicemails too.
yeah,
I mean,
personally
I
I wouldn't
personally
do
have
it.
got four closes out of voicemail, so I've
Yeah, I
had
mean if
an
it works, bro. Keep it up.
I got
To
a
each their
question
own.
for
Yo,
for you guys at the beginning when you get the I already have coverage. Do you go on the route of like spending their coverage for them or like trying to save them money? Which is like the safer route to go?
well, you gotta assess the situation first, see what they have it for. If they have too much life insurance, like they just want a cremation, but they want to leave an extra 10 grand, but they have 40,000, they don't need $40,000 for that. So you want to approach saving the money. But if they have 40 grand of coverage and they're leaving it for the mortgage, well, sir, you don't have anything in place for the funeral expense. So let's put something in place for that. So it just comes down to how well you understand their situation and what you can
Oh,
get out of them. Yeah,
all right. Appreciate you. Okay.
sir.
I have a
I've got
question.
one more question. Or go ahead. Go ahead. So my question is basically like I know a lot of people get this too. Are you with the VA? I usually say I'm partnered with the VA, but a lot of times that doesn't work. Like they just immediately hang up. What exactly can we like say that's legal that actually would help in that situation?
I'm sorry, you cut out on my end. What were you saying?
No, you're good. So, in the intro, like some people like they'll ask you like straight up, they'll be like, "Are you with the VA?" Me personally, I say no, I'm not with the VA. I work with the VA like as a private contractor or something. Cause like what's the most legal way to kind of like keep them on the phone? Cause that usually doesn't work out for me.
Well, whenever they ask you that, they're just looking for an excuse to hang up on you. You just got to
Mhm.
smack them in the face with reality. Tell them, no, sir, I'm with the Benefits for Veterans Office, contracted with 26 A-rated carriers to offer you a 40% veterans discount. See if you're in the best position possible. So you don't want to, and then if they're going at you back and forth from there, you can send them credentials, but you don't wanna stick uh, in that side of the conversation for too long. You want to transition it back into the script as soon as possible. Because once you go down that rabbit hole, it's kind of hard to get out of. Because, I mean, you're not going to tell them you're with the VA or anything like that. But if they think they're in control of the conversation, sitting there questioning you, best believe it's not going anywhere. You want to take control again of the conversation. No, sir, I'm with the Benefits for Veterans Office. Now, was the main concern here? You just want to pick it back up from there.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is the one main thing that's responsible for a high persistency rate? Because obviously it varies from one rep to the next.
I would say truly the main thing is like if you are like putting the customer like in the best position possible, like if you're not smacking them for, 800 a month just cause, they do have the money for it, you know what I mean? Like just like Marvin said, that's like there's people that have 50 grand in coverage that only want a burial. Like at the end of the day, sometimes they don't even need that much. But obviously, truly, if you build the why enough and like obviously the whole point of the call is the why. I mean, at the end of the day, once you're presenting, you know exactly what should need to be covered. If they say it's, too expensive, you got to go down a little bit. But I'd say like my main thing is like try to stay honest with the client, like truly like transparency. Like I'll even let them know, like when I'm quoting, I'll just be like, hey, our best three options here are going to be America Mutual of Omaha and, Aetna.
Yeah.
America is
Um,
120, this one's 130, this one's 140. I'm going to try and get you the first best one first. And then, like I just try to be honest with them. So at the end of the day, they know, hey, that person I just got off the phone with, that person that protected my family cares about me.
100%. We got a 10 a.m. meeting coming
Oh,
up.
shit.
Last thing, there's two questions. So for widows, I off rip on the intro, I say for veterans and veteran spouses, and I do everything else the same, but I just address her. And then I personally do not use the CRM. But if you guys have any more questions, you can drop them in the Discord. Me and Austin will follow up. It was a pleasure talking to
Boom.
you guys, and see you later.
Let's go,
Bam.
Marvin and Austin.
Yo,
Yeah,
long ass meeting. Hopefully everybody took some sauce from that.
Killers, bro. That shit was fire, man.
be back.